Go.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Top Cut. We are now going to be entering the viewer question portion of the show, and yeah, let's get right to it. We're going to start with a statement from Sammy Sekum that was made earlier this week. He says, "My first Top Cut article is coming soon, titled 'The Case for 60 Minutes.'" That's actually a joke, I'm sure. He was referring to Jason Klasinski's article that he just recently wrote for us called "The Case for 90 Minutes," which I recommend everybody read. It's on our Top Cut site, so really interesting, and I'm happy Sammy's taking the time to joke with us. Now, as far as questions are concerned, we are going to start with Michael Martindale's question. He says, "There's talk of an unofficial base to Neo 4 tournament being held at Worlds. Could you elaborate on a few of the archetypes? How many players are you anticipating for this year's Worlds in Masters?" So let's start with the Worlds question. How many players are you guys anticipating for this year's Worlds?
In the main event, probably 200.
Are you crazy? The max is like 132, and it's always around.
You mean
like
all three
110.
divisions combined, or
He said Masters. He said Masters.
I meant like 200 combined.
Oh.
Is that low? Probably like
Yeah,
300?
Low.
Yeah, probably a little, it's low, yeah.
Okay.
It depends on how many they let in through the grinder.
Well, I'm good.
But it's like 132 or something like that?
I think that's a max.
128 maybe?
28.
Yeah, something like that.
That'd be the most they let in. It's probably going to be more like 100.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the beauty of Worlds is that it's always a smaller tournament. So there's
Especially
the other question. The other part of his question, which was unofficial base to Neo 4 tournament. Was that ever actually a format? I don't think it was.
Yeah, I think so.
Was it?
I don't know.
I mean, it had to be Slowking. That was good.
I mean, let's be honest.
It's Aster modified.
It's basically just based to Neo Genesis, because what was playable after that in Unlimited?
Light Dragonite.
Yeah, give me a break.
It's like they were good trainers, weren't there?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
I don't remember. I just remember Slowking always dominating. I do remember that the base format started rotating out, like, because I think Neo 2, wasn't it, when they started doing like the modified NC.
Rock it on, man.
No, but what I'm saying is like when like that Neo set came out is when they started doing modified tournaments, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
Neo
rock
2.
it on.
Yeah. So at that point they did away with base through Neo 4. So that's what or base through Neo. So and that was never an actual format. But if it would have been, I'm sure Slowking with Mercury would have probably been the most dominant deck. I mean, that's my guess. There's Dark Vileplume, which is also pretty solid.
Slowking is pretty much the best deck. Anything with Slowking. Murkrow was ridiculous, though. Mean Look was just stupid, especially with Slowking. I think that's probably the best deck. There were all sorts of archetypes, though, I think. There was like the Rocket Zapdos stuff. I think, like Muck Clefable was a deck.
Yep.
Wigglytuff, although that kind of fell off after a while.
Mewtwo.
I put my money on Charizard. Charizard's probably the best card.
Ben, were you still in like elementary school when base 304 was around?
I'm 21.
That's what I'm saying.
Close enough.
I don't know.
I was.
I guess so.
I think.
Base set. What year is that? Like
I guess I meant like
base set came out in December of 1998.
I was 7, so I was in 2nd grade. I think.
When Neo 4 came out is what I said.
It was like 2002.
It was like middle school-ish. I don't really know.
That's what I'm asking. Were you in middle school or were you still in elementary?
I might have been in 5th grade.
There's no way you're in 5th grade.
Which is the last year of elementary school.
Oh yeah, I can't forget the Metal Chansey deck.
For me. What's going on here?
I'm pretty sure Charizard's the best card.
Metal Chansey was a real deck. Metal Chansey was actually stupidly good.
Yeah.
But it had a bad matchup against Slowking, so.
It's weak to Charizard, probably.
Nope. Weak to Hitmonchan. Get it right.
Metal Pokemon, weak to fighting?
It's a colorless Pokemon.
Oh. Why was it called Metal Chansey?
Because back in the day, Metal Energy, it reduced damage, or like it gave you the -10 no matter what type of Pokemon it was attached to. But the catch was, if it's not a Metal Pokemon, when you attack, you do 10 less damage. But Chansey had double edge, which did 80 to itself. So you would reduce 10 to yourself from metal energy.
10 to yourself again.
Yeah. So.
That's cute.
Uh-huh. And then there was the unknown, the colorless one that reduced damage done to your Pokemon by colorless Pokemon by 30. So if you had a metal and used double edge, you would only do 30 to yourself, I think.
Yep. And then there was unknown N, obviously, like you mentioned, and all that good stuff. So
Yeah, that was Neo Discovery, so.
It's legal. Yeah, it's legal.
So I'm saying that was one of the useful cards after Neo Genesis.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think that'd be funny if like people that didn't play back in those days, like look at the cards now trying to build a deck. They start looking at them, they just like start crossing off cards that are good, that are like broken back in the day. They're like, Sneasel can't be any good. Cross it off, because they start rating them compared to Pokemon of today's, and it's just you guys are very spoiled. Those of you who didn't play back in the Neo days or back in the base days. Back then, jab for 20 with one fighting was broken. Now you just kind of look at it and you're like, ugh, terrible card, throw it away. So, good luck to all those people that are going to be playing in that tournament. And let's go to the next question. All right, here we go. Well, Dwayne Schoenberg asked the same questions that we actually covered, so we won't cover that question. All right, let's go with the classic question that we get asked pretty much before every major tournament, and that's by Ken Adams. What's going to win Worlds? Anybody?
My secret deck is going to win Worlds.
Gonna be the first person to grind in and win Worlds.
Woo! Nobody's done that?
Nope.
Not in Masters.
Alright, I got this.
2 people have grinded in and gotten top 4, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody actually want to give a shot or try to guess?
A real deck?
I'm getting my deck ready for the real format. I got my my Professor Oak out. He's ready to go.
Got your Slow Kings?
Got. I'll find them. They're around here somewhere. Got my computer search.
That's pretty much the only cards I own is like the old cards like Oaks and computer searches and stuff.
I think Kling Klang's gonna win Worlds.
Okay. I can't disagree with you.
What?
I am never ever saying that deck is not winning. So,
Deck is not going to win Worlds. I think Darkrai is going to win Worlds.
Okay.
No way.
A Darkrai variant.
That's pretty vague.
Yeah. Half the decks.
That is pretty vague, yeah. But not a
Covering your
deck.
bases. Is Kling Klang technically a Darkrai variant?
No,
Since it does run 2 Darkrai?
No. A deck that's like with dark patches in Darkrai.
Okay. Darkrai is gonna win Worlds. Got it. What about you, Drew?
I'm gonna go with Excelgor Vileplume, baby. Woo! That deck's the most fun to play.
I don't think that.
I think that actually might be the best deck. It just cannot win in 60 minutes.
It's impossible. It's pretty hard to beat once it gets rolling. But Worlds is kind of a shorter tournament. I think it can go to distance, man. Woo!
Yeah. All right. Edmund Nell says, since I won't be able to go to the Grinders this year, what do you guys think of the new set that's available on PokeBeach.com? Non-EX Rayquaza is a secret rare and only available as a secret rare. Our stance normally before big tournaments is usually that we're not going to be covering these sets until they actually come out and whatnot, and then we'll obviously give you guys a review. And we just kind of want to focus on Worlds right now. We want to focus on all the important things that are actually going to be happening in the next couple of weeks. And once the pre-release happens and once Worlds is over, we'll be glad to actually answer pretty much any questions you guys have about this, and we'll do a good set review. But in the meantime, let's just focus on the actual tournament at hand, because that's got to be on most people.
I will answer.
All right, go for it, my friend.
Quick. I actually really like these cards. I think I already figured out the deck I'm gonna play. It's really
Is it a secret
cool.
deck?
Well, I just made it up, so I guess I'm the only person that knows about it.
Basically, what I'm asking is, are you about to mention it to us?
I can if you want me to. I want to make this quick for you, but I can explain it.
More than welcome to answer, yeah.
Alright, so how does de-evolution spray work? Can I I evolve the Pokemon that I do? Oh, it can't.
And
Damn.
it's the last line.
It's literally,
Well, I was
it's
gonna say,
literally on the card.
I start with one Kata and evolve it into Ninjask, and then I play 4 de-evolution spray, and I evolve it into the Shed Ninja that doesn't give any prizes, and I just do that 4 times, and I give them all Rocky helmets. They just dominate, but I don't read the cards, so I'm just an idiot.
You show up to the tournament and your deck is much worse than you had anticipated.
I was like,
Yeah,
That actually
as
happened to
many
me once.
games as it was going
Not
to.
everybody reads the cards. There was a guy at States this year. He was just one-shotting Terrakians with Yanmega. He was just like, bam, got it. Sonic Boom. I don't understand why more people aren't playing this. And then he was told about it in round 4, and he just lost like the rest of his rounds.
Back in like 2001 or 2002, I think it's 2001, I went to Gen Con, and it was back when it was actually in Milwaukee, and I hadn't played Pokemon in a couple of years. I took a break once Neo Genesis came out. I missed the good days. So I showed up, I had all these new cards, and I was like, man, Elekid is really broken. You can just flip to do 20 damage like every turn. And then I'm like, well, obviously I should just play 4 of these things. Like, I could just flip 4 times every turn, and if I get heads, I do 20 damage for free. So I show up with a deck with 4 Elekids, and then I actually play against Dylan Austin, who was the 2002 Worlds Champion, and throw down my Elekid, and like, Playful Punch, I get Tails, and then I keep playing my turn. He's like, dude, your turn's over. I'm like, what?
I made the
Like,
same deck.
He's like, read the rest of the card. I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah. Peds does 20 damage. Your turn is now over. Oh no. So, that's like the entire basis of my deck. I'm like, well, I got 4 useless cards in my deck now. Because Elekid was pretty bad, to be honest. I mean, flip to do 20 damage. It was terrible. And played the whole tournament with 4 dead cards.
I played that same deck for like a whole night of testing, and then like the next week he's like, dude, we were playing that all wrong. After I went undefeated with all kids, flipping heads left and right.
It seemed broken.
It was pretty good.
You guys were so terrible at this game back then. Especially you, Kyle. Never forgetting those stories. You always put dead cards into your deck. Always. Like
I don't
Strength
know.
Charms and stuff.
My dead cards seem to win games against you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, snap.
Woo!
Alright. Edmund Nell actually asked the next question. He asks, and Crim, will you ever make an article similar to Jason's about the case for having entry fees? Yeah, I started it a couple months ago. I have a.
How did that
I have
go?
it started. It says, I'm notoriously lazy. Seriously, ask anybody that knows me. They'll tell you the truth.
That's it.
And yeah, I've had that
That's
same
his
few
article.
sentences written.
We should
Same few
post that
sentences
on the
written for a
site.
while.
I wrote an article for the Top Cut,
Have
but
you?
it just, yeah, they didn't use it.
What?
Thanks, guys.
When did
Our
you write
loss.
us an article?
I sent it to you in AIM,
An aim?
and you
did.
said thanks.
I probably still have it somewhere.
I believe it. I actually believe it.
Oh, he did. I remember this now.
I gave it to Mike too, and he's also said thanks.
What was it called?
Like LCQ Survival Guide. And
Oh,
it came
yeah. See, it's still relevant. I can still post it.
Okay. Yeah,
Isn't
but
it like a year late?
now it's after Brett Pybus's. I had the first one.
People want to read yours. It's good.
I
Sorry.
probably worked, but whatever.
It was sent to me on July 4th. I'm sorry.
I cornered the market, and then you just said nope.
Okay.
No, I probably won't write any articles. I'm just being honest right now. I should, I'm sure. But either way, you guys are more than welcome to, speak to me personally on a personal level. I love to reply to anybody that actually has any questions for me. And I'm very outspoken, and I'll use Twitter for this stuff. I'll use the Top Cut show. I'm gonna make my opinion known. I'm not a good writer. I'm a terrible writer, and it's
You're lazy, that's all it is.
it's laziness that's beating me. I can't help it. I can't help it. It's a weakness. It's a flaw. I apologize. Um, all right. James Proctor asks, "Is Kling Kling in your guys' testing decks full of wolves?"
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that is.
Deck's pretty good.
We built it and we played some games with it, but I was beating it with CMT, so we just took it apart.
Seems like a pretty rash decision.
I beat it like 4 times in a row. It was like 4-0. Just dominated.
Are you running like a normal CMT or like the one that made top 4 at Nationals?
It was like normal.
Not 4 supporters?
It had 8 supporters or 7, and it had the 4, random receivers.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, let me just encourage anybody that actually has a willingness to write, just to let us know. Speak to us if you have an article that you want to speak, an article that you have in mind. If you're a good writer and you have a good topic, and you just let us know, we'd probably be more than happy to have you write that for us. It's kind of like if anybody feels like writing for us and they have something good in mind, then we'd be more than happy to air people's opinions. So that's really how you can write for us if you like to, at least currently in the meantime. But yeah, either way, the next question asked is going to be from Chris Jester, and I like this question a lot. He says, how many games would you say you have to test a specific matchup before a big event? Also, how often do you guys make changes to your list during testing? Every 10 games, etc. Ideally, in a perfect world, what you should be doing is playing quite a few games, like dedicate a block of time towards testing specific big matches. You never want to play test against matches that are irrelevant. Like, for example, the last thing you want to do is have your rogue deck and play test it against another rogue deck. That's just not going to do anything for you. What you want to do is you want to play test against the already known archetypes. You want to play test against Darkrai. You want to play test against Kling Kling. You want to play test against the Vileplume the Vileplume variants. You want to play test against Excelgor, and really you want to focus your play testing on these big matchups and play test as long as you can. There's no actual set, quantifiable amount of time, but once you do that, you want to just edit your deck as you come along. Like, that's what testing groups are for. The more people that you speak to, the more people that whose opinions you actually trust. You guys bounce ideas off of each other, and you guys keep testing these ideas. I mean, that's just the best way to do it. Dedication and time are the 2 biggest factors that come towards playtesting, and I'm pretty sure that most people would agree with that. Anybody want to add on?
Yeah. Unless someone else can go first, though. Mine's kind of long.
I'll go.
All right.
Usually when I'm testing, if I'm changing, like, let's say I want to try out like Bianca in my deck or something instead of like Juniper or something like that, I'll do that, and then I'll play like 4 games with it, and then that'll be like kind of indicative. Like, if I just lose all 4 games because Bianca stinks, I'll like switch back. But if I'm switching like one Smeargle out for like another supporter, and I have like 1 Smeargle left, I'll play like 11 or 12 games with that, just because you have to, like, ideally you want to play like infinite amount of games with infinite lists, just so you know. But for like major changes are more apparent, and then smaller changes are less apparent.
Okay. Excuse me. What about you? Do you have anything you want to mention?
Uh, I mean, if it's a pretty rough list, I think you can note some changes right away. If it's obviously running clunky, you can change some stuff around like almost immediately. You can tell if something's wrong, usually. But then when you play a ton of games with the deck and you like it, you're just really getting down to like 2 or 3 card slots going into a big tournament. Then you're probably changing those cards around all the time, but those are probably the only cards that are actually getting changed in the deck. Like right before Nationals, Tom had a 58 card deck, and he was trying every combination for the last 2, so it's really that kind of thing. Sorry, I don't know how to turn off my Skype sounds. These guys keep messaging me. But yeah, it's really that kind of thing in
Saying
terms of
you were breaking up a little bit.
in terms of testing for certain things. Yeah, you would ideally want to play like 10 to 15 games versus everything, but that almost never happens in the perfect world.
Okay.
Woo!
Yeah. But for example, I guess what we're suggesting is like what the ideal situation is, and then people kind of work with what they can, but at least give them a good idea of like what they should be doing, or at least what we believe they should be doing. And just so you know, you were breaking up for us, so we couldn't really hear you very well. But you are the person streaming, so it shouldn't matter to the viewers. The viewers should be getting actual good quality from it.
Well, my point of view is that there's no real good way to go about this. I mean, basically, your testing is as good as the people you're testing with. You need to have reliable people to test with that understand what's going on with the game. I mean, if you're testing with nothing but a guy who plays nothing but Vanillux over and over, you're not going to have good results in terms of figuring out what you should be playing or how you should fix your deck, because obviously Vanillux isn't going to be a huge deck at most tournaments. So a lot of it is your testing partners, and I think this was really apparent at Nationals this year when we were all testing one version of the Zekrom Electric deck with Terrakion, and what ended up being the bigger version was the one with that still ran a bunch of Mewtwo's and Double Colorless, and then Raikou EX, which ended up being the more successful version. So instead of testing against that version of the deck, we were all testing against the Terrakion version. Maybe our results got a little skewed. Also, we weren't testing against stuff like Kling Klang or some of the other decks that did well. So it's really tough when there's this many decks and the card pool is so big, and there's so many ways to make variations of the same deck. For example, CMT. Look at how many different ways you can build that deck. You can play Tornadus EX, you can play without it, you can run normal Tornadus, you can run it without it, you can run 1-3 Terrakion, you can run a bunch of grass. Some people don't even run double colorless, so it's tough to get a good idea of how you're going to do against that deck. And I mean, at the end of the day, you can just only do so much. You can't try to beat every deck. So you just try to make something that's well-rounded, that can deal with all sorts of surprises. I mean, there's some cards that you're going to have to be able to deal with. There's Darkrai, there's Mewtwo, and there's Terrakion. You can pretty much expect to see those three cards. Those are the big Pokemon you're going to have to deal with. And then probably Zekrom, too. Beyond that, I mean, you can't really account for everything. Maybe Trainer Lock 2, if you want to run like Espeon or the Unknown Cure. But, so, the other thing I wanted to touch on is like changing cards in your list. Sometimes it's just like a feeling out process. Like you play a couple games and you're just like, okay, this card does not belong in my deck. I'm gonna add something else. Like Ben said with the Bianca thing. Like obviously this isn't working. I'm gonna change it for something else. Or just like a whole concept. Like say you wanted to run like a 3/3 Noctowl line in your deck, and in your head it sounds good. And you play a couple games and you're like, okay, this is actually just terrible, and you change it out completely. So there's no set amount of games that can help you out. A lot of the things in testing are just like they hit you and you're like, oh, why am I not running this, or why am I playing this, or why am I not playing more supporters? And it takes a lot of fine tuning. It takes a lot of work. There's no real method to do it or science. It's just something that comes from putting in the time. And sometimes you don't get the right answer. It's just kind of how it is. But if you put in the work, for the most part, you'll come up with a solid deck. That's really all you can do.
Yeah, one thing that I wanted to mention was I can't stress enough how important it actually is to be able to, whatever time you're going to have, use it as wisely as you possibly can. Excuse me. What I mean is, for example, I saw Pramela and Luke, who were playtesting quite a bit, in the room we were all staying in. I saw them spend a lot of time on the most unnecessary matchups. And
The vanilla
I
smear matchup.
yeah, exactly. That's the matchup that I had in my mind. First of all, they weren't really thinking of using Vanillix, so they just kind of went like, "All right, I'll play Vanillix," and then he's like, "Well, I'll play Vanillix too." I'm sorry.
Luke was.
Okay, well, Luke might have been, but then the last thing you want to do is if you're thinking of playing Vanillix, and you might have played a certain amount of games with this deck. The last thing you want to do is spend the last night before you can actually make this decision play testing against the matchup that you might see once, maybe. I mean, you're probably not seeing any of it, and you're not going to be play testing against, you're not play testing against the decks that you know you're going to face. You know you're going to face Darkrai. You know you're going to face Zekrom Electric. You know you're going to face Vileplume variants. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I don't mean the Vanillix Vileplume variant. I mean like the Excelgor and I mean honestly, Clink Clink kind of took us by surprise, but if we had been smarter or had a different amount of a larger amount of playtesting partners, we would have known that that's going to be a reasonable deck too, and that's what you should be doing. And unfortunately, too many people are most of us included spend a lot of time that could be used a lot more wisely, wasting our time doing that. And another thing that I really like that I think our group does quite a bit, and most people don't, is, for example, we came up with this, or we didn't come up with this deck, but we started playing this deck quite a bit. We started playing this deck quite a bit, which was the Sableye version, the Sableye Weavile version of the Darkrai deck, and we started going crazy over it. All of a sudden we built the deck and we wanted to play test the hell out of it, and we shuffled it up, and what we did was me and Pramela sat there and played basically against Kyle, and the two people playing doesn't really matter. What matters is you share your ideas, you share your thoughts. You guys, you go like, oh, maybe this is going to work or maybe this doesn't, and you want to use your time as wisely as you possibly can. And again, you have minds who you respect, people whose opinions you respect, and you start figuring out what works, what doesn't work. And the more you talk about these things, especially given a short amount of time like we had at nationals, then the more you talk about this stuff, the more you guys come to a good realization. And eventually we realized that it wasn't going to work because of the actual Darkrai matchup. But if maybe only one of us had been testing it or whatever, then maybe we wouldn't have come to that realization. Maybe we would have wasted more time. But that's just the way that this stuff works, and you just want to use your time as wisely as possible.
They were just having fun, man.
Yeah, they might have been having fun, but like I mentioned,
blowing off some steam. You don't want to be all tense going into a tournament.
Are you kidding me? Blowing off steam? Pram and Luke
Yeah.
like ready to go off. They were sitting there going like, I can't believe this matchup. They're just sitting there like
They were
tilted and
having a
because they're
great
playing.
time. I think I told like 15 ice puns. It was great.
What
They
killed
were
the
not blowing off
dinosaurs?
steam. They were going nuts.
The Ice Age!
And absolutely, I played the deck at the open play area. I thought it was a cool deck to play, and I happened to beat Ben like 3 times in one match. I actually beat him 3 different ways in one match. I beat him by actual damage. I beat him by disqualification because he cheated, and I decked him.
You're
3
talking about.
times. Huh?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you don't. Either way, yeah, it was pretty cool. So either way, I hope we answered that question pretty well.
It was pretty cool.
Woo! All right.
That was cold, man.
Gravin Grahowski says, "What do you think about Garchomp Altaria?" I know Kyle won't like this, but let's say this is for my boy Crim. Well, your boy Crim doesn't actually know what Garchomp or Altaria do. So
We talked about it. It was on the show.
you're
I swear we talked about this like 20 minutes ago.
I have a short attention span, right? No, I don't know what the cards do. So if you want to refresh my memory, Ben, you're more than welcome to.
I can tell you what it does.
Garchomp does 1 for 60. Altaria increases Dragon type's damage by 20 for each Altaria in play.
It's a stage 1?
Yes.
Altaria
Garchomp
is
is a stage 2.
Stage 2.
Garchomp.
Yeah.
Stage.
Yeah, but Altaria is...
But it's literally just 1 energy, 60 damage, no drawbacks, no nothing?
It discards a special energy attached to the defending Pokemon.
Yeah.
All right, guess no drawbacks.
And
Second
then
one
for
is 2 for
fighting
100.
out of water, it does 100, and you discard the top like 2 cards of your deck.
Yes.
What's his HP?
140.
140. But it's weak to itself.
Yeah, weak to dragon.
I don't think that's that big of a deal because what it means is it one shots Rayquaza EX, right? That's a good thing.
Rayquaza EX is not going to be good.
Take it back.
But it one shots Rayquaza. I mean, it one shots what one shots it, and it one shots it for 1 energy, so it might have a reasonable matchup against other dragon types. It seems okay. I don't
It's the
know
deck
how.
that Yuta used to win his Battle Carnival or whatever, and how he qualified for Worlds.
That's awesome. I mean, the problem that I see with that is that you have a stage 2 that you probably have to get out multiple times, and you still need to get your stage 1, which the stage 1 should be a big deal, but the fact that you have to get a stage 2 out multiple times is kind of scary, but seems kind of cool. Get 2 out, you start dealing 100 for 1. Hard to beat.
I don't know if it's the best deck, but it's not. It doesn't seem awful.
Yeah, it doesn't seem awful at all. It's a deck that I definitely want to test as when the sets come out. It'll be interesting.
I just want to get all the cards, man. I love opening new cards.
The stage 1 for Garchomp searches for any dragon type Pokemon. That's why it's a good deck.
Is it an attack though?
It's an ability. It's
Yeah,
like Dark Dragonair, the first one we had.
Yeah, that's really good then. Yeah, I like
Oh
that.
wow, you just
So you could
just do that.
realistically get 3 out by
Oh,
like turn
wow.
3.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, you can just do it. You do it the one turn you evolve it, and then you do it the turn after,
120
right before you
120
evolve
for
it.
solid. But 120 for 1 doesn't one shot things, so you're still 2 shot. You're trading 2 shots.
It's not an EX.
Yeah, it's fine.
What's 20 for 1?
I said 120.
Move on.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, you get 3 Altarias out, you start dealing 120. Seems alright. We'll see.
Sweet.
James Proctor asked, have you guys ever thought of having a top-ranking senior on the show next year after cities? Anybody want to cover that?
It's past his bedtime, I think.
I don't really think we're gonna do that.
Our thing, I know people have talked to me a lot about covering juniors and seniors. I don't want to disrespect the other divisions, but our interests are to cover masters for right now. Maybe in the future it's possible to cover other divisions, but at this point, our focus is going to be on masters for a lot of reasons. I mean, I don't want to get into all of them, but probably not going to have any seniors or junior stuff anytime soon. Maybe the most we'll do is like if we manage to get the finals of Worlds or something like that, then we can post those games, which we never did for last year's Worlds because we got them way too late. But if we can do that, we'll post those games. But otherwise, we probably won't be able to cover other divisions. We can barely cover Masters as it is.
We can have a new show, the Kitty Cut.
And let's be honest, really the main reason, at least in my opinion, is that it's really hard to, for liability issues and everything like that, you start entering into a completely different territory. I wouldn't mind. I would love to be able to speak to some of the top juniors pretty consistently. I think that it is great for the game, and it's great to be able to encourage younger people who their parents might want to show them a YouTube video of, say, the world champion in the juniors division. I do think, or maybe a world championship match. I do think that would be cool. It's just the problem then arises that we're not an actual company. We have no idea what we're doing, and we would hate to be liable when it comes to these things. We would hate to actually put ourselves in jeopardy or what we're doing in jeopardy, or much less, put anger a parent, or maybe put a child in harm's way or whatever. It's just we're amateurs when it comes to this, and that's the truth. We're comfortable doing it with masters and adults. We're very comfortable doing it with that. But then when you start entering into the junior and senior division, you start entering a gray zone that we're currently not comfortable enough to be able to jump into. But give it enough time, give it enough help and support. Absolutely, we'd love to. But for the time being, like Kyle mentioned, we're going to stick to the adults because that's something we can handle. That's something we're comfortable that we can handle. And Drew finally showed up on my camera. Just right now. Very cool. Drew, did you have anything you wanted to mention?
I think you guys covered it pretty well. I mean, yeah, we just don't have the resources and the liability. So, if people want to volunteer to like send in videos or something like that, or cover it for us in the information, they're more than welcome to, but I don't think we'll cover it personally, so it's just how it is for now.
Okay. And just so everybody knows, Isaiah Middleton actually did post something on our Facebook page detailing the Base to Neo tournament that's going to be going on at Worlds. So if anybody's actually interested in that tournament, please visit the actual page and take a look at some of the information that's provided. What made us start the Top Cut? That was from Joseph Willsworth. It's an interesting story. I remember speaking to Kyle originally about this, and Kyle kind of blew away the idea. He was like, "Yeah, you know what? Maybe potentially," but nothing ever came of it. And myself and Pram had a conversation where we started detailing, what we would like to see happen with Pokemon and how we'd like to see it grow. Kyle joined into the conversation. And next thing you knew, Drew did as well, and we started, actually making this happen. It was really cool. There was no major boom that happened. We were just kind of always had it in mind. And eventually we decided, hey, what the hell, let's do it. Right?
Woo.
Right, guys?
Yeah, that's right.
Basically, what I was thinking when we started the Top Cut.
Yes.
We
right.
love the game. We want it to live on. We want it to grow.
You say it so ABC. Let's do it.
I want to be on camera and get famous and have 50 people watch me every Thursday.
Get famous.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy. It's
He
more
was
like
jealous
7.
of Jay-Wit, so he had to... he couldn't let that happen.
But yeah, I mean, there's no actual giant story to it. We were just all interested in doing something like this, and we had the time, and we obviously love the game, so let's do it. Dwayne Schoenberg says all-time top 3 favorite players in Pokemon history, not including yourself. Favorite players, so not the people who I think are the best, but my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
All right, whoever's ready can go ahead and answer first.
All right, I like top 3, right? So
Yeah.
number 1 is Matt Moss. He's the life of the party. Great guy to be around. He won the I think it was East Coast STS or West Coast STS, and way back in the day.
Which one was it, Crim?
I don't want to talk about it. Let's keep going.
But he's the life of the party. Really funny. He's a great guy. He doesn't get to play anymore because he lives in New York. I think he's going to school. So
making a comeback next season.
Oh yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Number 2, Sina Gaziaskar. He's probably the most interesting person I've ever met in my life. He I don't know. I can't really describe his habits, but he's just interesting. If you ever saw him, you would see why. He's a crazy dude. He was at Nationals. He had big watch on. He kind of slimmed down, so he looked pretty good. But
he was at Nationals for 12 hours.
Yeah, he made his dad drive him all the way to Indianapolis for a day of Nationals. The 3rd.
Who's number 3?
I'm having a lot of trouble deciding.
I'm having a lot of trouble with number 3. I think I'm gonna go with Tom the Tank Engine. He's just a good friend. He always seems to do well at big events. He never plays ever, and it just amazes me to watch him just get right back into the swing of things and outperform me every time. I've been playing the whole season, and here comes Tom and just dominates. So he's just the man. Woo! Who's next?
Very good, solid top 3. All from Ohio, actually.
No, they're not.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, not Moss. Sorry. Okay. Michigan, Ohio, same thing. Close enough.
Those are fighting words.
What about you, Potter? Do you have a top 3 yet?
Yeah, I do. Kyle used to be in my top 3.
Used to be.
No,
until he didn't post that article.
It's not bad, but it's not like that. I didn't know anybody, so basically, I saw that this guy Kyle did pretty well for the span before I met him. So I would just play whatever he played, and that's pretty much just how I did well at anything. Just played whatever he played. So he used to be in my top 3, but now my top 3, I guess it's Pram and Luke, because they're like 2 of my best friends, and then Brad Curcio. He's a cool dude. I like him.
All right. Top 3 favorites. Very nice. What about you, Kyle?
One of my favorites ever since I met him at Worlds 04 was Yamato. We only get to see him once a year, but you can just see he loves the game so much, and he's really turned into a legendary figure for the game. I mean, he was the first person to win Worlds for Nintendo's era. He went undefeated, and he really made a name for himself as like the player for Pokemon during that era. So I always thought that was really cool, and he's kind of got like an aura about him in terms of Pokemon whenever he shows up to events. And he's like 3 out of 4 for grinding in too, which is absurd. But
yeah, he is.
He's one of my favorite players always to watch. And also I like Sammy Sakum. I think he's a really funny guy. He's good for the game too, and he's also very good at the game as well. And for a third one's always the toughest. I guess I'll go with Jason, just because when I was starting off, he was always like the guy. He won everything. I mean, he won the Tropical Mega Battle, he won Fan Appreciation Tournament, he won, I mean, like, what didn't he win? He's won Worlds twice, and he's always just been like #1, and it was just always someone to look up to. And as time went on and I got to meet him and know him better, I respect him a lot as a player and a person. So I guess Jason would be one of my favorites too.
Very cool. Very good list. I guess when it comes to like favorite, I actually like think about like people who I'm emotionally invested in, like I mentioned with StarCraft. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Kyle's probably at the top of my list because every time I've seen this guy do well, I'm just sitting there, I feel like I'm his biggest steering section. I just let out the biggest, oh my god, I can't believe it. Now I just get that really cool feeling about it. So Kyle's got to be up there. Great friend, obviously. Then I guess I have a thing for Yamato. I have a thing for like the not like that, but I mean like I mean like
he's married, man.
Awesome, I think.
Sorry, man.
It broke my heart saying that.
Embrace yourself.
What I meant was like, I love seeing that guy do well. I think every time he grinds in, I feel so happy for him, and you can tell that this guy loves Pokemon more than any other player ever in the history of the game. And it's not even remotely close. This guy genuinely loves Pokemon as much as Drew loves his kitty.
I don't think so.
Even more,
As
actually.
much as Crim loves
I
him.
love the kitties.
Nobody can ever love Pokemon as much as I love Yamato.
He's like Marine King for Pokemon. He wears his heart on his sleeve.
He does. He truly does. And like seeing him in pain when he, when he cried when he lost to, I believe it was,
Ross.
Who was it, to Ross? Yeah, I was gonna say Ross. When he lost to Ross, I was like, oh, dude, that's heartbreaking. And I just think the guy truly deserves everything good that comes to him in the game. And then I guess my number 3, the number 3 I've been really like back and forth on. I'm gonna go with Cena because he is one of my better friends as well. It doesn't actually count because again the guy doesn't really play anymore. But if I were to ever actually like cheer for somebody, and like I said, I love everybody in this community, I really do. But he is one of my better friends, and I would cheer for up and down if the guy won a major tournament again or something like that. I just I love seeing my friends do well, and I love I love Yamato. I can't help it. I love Yamato. I'm sitting here declaring my love for him on international esports broadcast or whatever this is. I think we should be considered esport right about now.
Top Cut episode 30, whatever. Crim comes out the closet.
Episode 40.
Episode 40. 10 episodes away. All right. Jack Eiler. All right, hold on. Let's move on. I don't want to stick on this subject much longer. All right, I'm feeling really awkward right now.
Start crying.
Jack Eiler says best looking national champ. Get a hold of yourself, guys, please. Best
I'll-
looking national champ. Clearly, I'm gonna say Yamato.
You could put-
National champion.
Yes. No, you know what? My vote is for that beautiful, beautiful woman that always happens to win one of these.
Are we talking U.S. national champion or
No.
worldwide?
I am absolutely not. I
What
am
are you
absolutely
talking
not.
about?
That lady is a national champion, and she is a champion in my heart. What's her name?
Yamato.
Jeez, it was a European nationals.
Go figure.
I can't remember. If you're watching, I love you, woman.
What if she's a senior?
Ah, man, she was in the Masters division years ago.
You. Oh, okay.
All right, anybody?
Got awkward really fast.
What's
Best
yeah.
looking national champion
Yeah,
of any nationals.
sure. I guess that's what we're doing.
Did Pablo win Nats?
No, he's never won Mexico's nationals.
Rookie.
I guess it's
Oh,
John
like-
Roberts by default.
Oh. Does this include future nationals?
No,
Oh, dang it.
not yourself.
Easy answer, me. So good looking.
I don't know.
Next.
JC Sturkey.
Are you kidding me?
Kyle gives a real answer. Kyle's just sitting there like contemplating for like minutes. Finally, he's like, "I've come to the conclusion, fellas."
That was the guy I lost to at 2004.
Oh man.
JC?
Mm-hmm.
Were you distracted by his good
Yeah.
looks?
First
must have
Crim, now Kyle.
See, mine is strictly platonic, all right? I love you, Mato, but in a platonic way.
A lot of people are saying Gino.
Good. Dude's fit. All right, next question. Christian Velasquez. Are you guys ever considering making Top Kit card sleeves? I mean, it'd be cool, except for we wouldn't be able to play them at tournaments, so.
Yeah, I thought about it until, you can't play them in tournaments. And then if you can't use them in tournaments, then, no.
I mean, it's Pokemon related.
Mm,
I mean, you would obviously have to ask them.
yeah, I don't think that would work.
I don't think that would work.
You might. I could foresee it. In fact, I do foresee it.
You don't foresee.
I don't think it's
I'm just,
possible given the
I'm
current
just
rules.
gonna Nostradamus it. Yes, they're coming out.
All right. Ben Stradamus says they're coming out. When? Who knows? But I guess they're coming. All right, here we go. Jay Witz himself, Joshua Robert Wittenkeller asks, if each of you could pick one thing to improve or add to the Top Cut for its third season next year, what would it be, and how can the community help make it happen? That's a good question.
It is a good question.
I think we need a host, so if anyone has experience in that, man, you can apply
Don't listen to him.
to our email.
Ignore him.
Woo!
Man.
For
actually
me,
anything else?
honestly, I think our biggest hurdle is like production value and basically just like graphics, making stuff look pretty. We are not good at that. That's for sure. None of us have any real experience with like graphic design or like editing videos, stuff like that. And
Because I spend a long time trying to make this happen.
yeah, I bet. So, I mean, most of what we produced so far has just been me looking up how to do things and then trying them for the first time. So, hasn't been too successful. I mean, if you look at other like YouTube channels, they have like intro videos and they have like actual graphics for stuff, like background images, things that actually make it appealing to people who don't know who we are. And I think that's really important for like casual viewers to kind of look at it and be like, this catches my eye, this looks kind of cool, maybe I'll stick with it. Whereas if you were to click on our YouTube channel now, it's just like me talking right away. And I'm obviously not the most entertaining person in the world, so that could kind of turn
You were
people
saying
away.
something?
Also, I'd like to work on the rudeness and just the overall professionalism of my teammates.
Oh my gosh, I fell asleep.
Are you still talking? Seriously?
Yeah, you guys are really helping us out here. So, yeah, just making things flashy, making things look good. That's gonna help us go a long way to appeal more to casual viewers, because that's kind of our biggest struggle right now. I think the like hardcore Pokemon players, they like what we're doing, they appreciate what we're doing, but to appeal to a broader audience, which is what I think we would like to do eventually, you need more of the other stuff, the production value. So that's something that we need to improve upon looking ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I think obviously, even something as simple as getting like an intro video to both our YouTube page and the Top Cut show, something that's simple as that would be, you know, it would go a long way towards making us more user friendly. Obviously, is not the right word, but it's the word I'm going to use because I don't know any other words. I am at a loss of words. Anyways, what I was trying to say is, yeah, something as simple as a video, something as simple as introduction, you know, maybe introductory music or whatever, that type of stuff would go a long way, and I think it's what everybody would want from the Top Cut.
Yeah.
Right, Drew?
Yeah. I also
Where's
think,
the
woo, like the PTCGO getting taken down didn't really help us because we were streaming like a few times a week on that, and then that got taken away from us. So once that ball starts rolling again, we should be getting more content out pretty regularly, I would hope.
Agreed.
I think season 3 would be improved by a lot more of the Great White Hope. And viewers, if you want to help that happen, you just gotta request it, baby. You just gotta request it.
Okay.
They're already saying it in chat. Well, I saw one guy say it in chat.
You have a fan.
Also, there's another person that told me they'd watch every episode I'm in.
Ooh.
I got like 2
Your
fans.
mom?
It's ridiculous. No, my mom doesn't know about this.
We're gonna see somebody named Great White Hope's #1 fan, or she's saying something like, "Ben, did you forget to shower this morning? Did you get the food I sent you?"
That's really funny. That's hilarious. Really strung together a hilarious story there, Crim.
I think you could use a shave, man. Your mom would not approve.
Yeah, that's true. She wouldn't. I would hope she doesn't, anyways. Great White Mama should not approve of it.
My mom.
Just to speak to what Drew said, I think Pokemon TCG Online, that falling apart was really a big blow to us, because I think that's going to be very necessary if we're going to be able to continue what we were going to do, which is try to promote Pokemon and spread it to more people. That was just the best way to not only just stream it, but say, hey, this is a cool way for people to get started in the game. You can just go online. There's no real commitment. I mean, it gave you a starter deck, even though it wasn't a competitive thing. You got to try the game out. That was a cool way to start. And then if you liked it, then you could go get your codes or whatever. I mean, the system wasn't good at all. Let's be honest. The first version of PTCGO was pretty terrible overall, and I'm glad that they're going to fix it. But when that went down, I was just kind of like, we don't have anything to really stream anymore. All the other programs are kind of clunky. Playtesting, it's a great program, don't get me wrong, but it can be a little clunky at times, and it's not the best visually for streaming stuff. Like, the images are really small and zoomed out. There's no real way to fix that. And Apprentice is terrible visually, my god. There's no pictures of cards. So, PTCGO is the best way to stream, and I really think that was the #1 way that we drew people in, because they're like, hey, what's this program? Where do I play this? How do I start this up again? Or it was like a nostalgia thing, like, hey, Pokemon cards, I used to play this. So if that gets back up and running, that'll be a big help for us. And um, I mean, it was really just a terrible thing when it went down for everybody involved because that was kind of one of the fun things we did. Streaming every week. I did Bad Deck Monday every week, or even just streaming normal games. A lot of people got involved. Even Josh Jaywitz would log on to Bad Deck Monday purposely to try to find me and beat me with his Gyarados scissor deck or whatever it was. So everybody got involved. It was a good community thing, but it got taken away from us. So I'm hoping that comes back. That'll help us a lot in the future.
Oh yeah, I sure hope so too. That's very true. So here we go. Next question. Isaiah Middleton says or asks, where do we predict Worlds 2013 will be? I say Tokyo. That's my prediction. I'm sticking to it.
2013.
Yes.
Is that next? Yeah. San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego.
Sure.
I'll put money on it, Crim.
The smart
You know
money's
what?
on San Diego, but I'm gonna go.
I'll give you-
I'm gonna go like Toronto or someplace, not in the U.S., but close enough.
I'll give you 40-1 odds, Crim.
40-1.
You know, I think because I would, and my heart will weep if it isn't in Tokyo. So here we go. Jonathan Crespo asks if we think an important card such as Rayquaza, which is coming in the next set, should be printed as a secret rare, so like as a shiny, because it makes it harder to obtain a necessary card for some decks in the beginning weeks of the new format. I don't think any type of important card should ever be a secret rare. I think we should stray as far away from that as possible. I would hope everybody agrees with that as well. I don't think that's good for any format ever.
If it turns
Not
out being
like
a,
secret rares are like, oh, well, if secret rares are still like one card for I don't know like 3 boxes, which is I think what it was before.
yeah.
That's not good. That's awful. But if it's like more accessible, like 3 per box, which is basically like EXs, then I mean EXs are fine.
No, it's a secret rare, like 1 in 3 boxes.
Well, I know what it is, but if it was like different.
Yeah.
But as is, no, that's really not a thing I want to see.
Well, I would compare this to Mewtwo when that first came out, because people were freaking out over how expensive that was. But I think this is a little different than Mewtwo because that was a card that you needed like 2 or 3 of in every single deck. Like you pretty much couldn't run a deck without Mewtwo's, and if you did, it was probably like a Vileplume deck. But for states and regionals, for the most part, every deck had like 2 Mewtwo's at least. Rayquaza, that's gonna fit in like 1 or 2 decks, and you'll probably only play one of them. So it'll be an expensive card to get, but this isn't something new to the game. If you remember back to like 2005, 2006, we had the shining Pokemon like the Latias, Latios Star, the Rayquaza Star. Those are the same rarity. Those were actually played very heavily, and people still got those. So I'm not too worried about it. Um, it's unfortunate when you have to pay like $50 for a card, but I mean, sometimes that's just the way it is.
Kyle, I guess I was under the assumption that when he said shiny rare or whatever, I assumed it was gonna be something like Golden Catcher style rarity. It's not.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't Golden Catcher like 1 per like 3 boxes or something like that?
Yeah.
So we're gonna be seeing 1 shiny Rayquaza in like every 3 boxes.
Yes.
That actually happened before. I know
Yeah.
I wasn't really playing during the shiny anything days, but
Sure did, man. If you look now, if you want to get a Rayquaza Star from the EX Deoxys set, it'll cost you at least $100.
yeah, I remember hearing about that. But like, so there was only 1 shiny Rayquaza or Rayquaza Star or whatever per 3 boxes back there.
Yeah,
Then?
pretty sure. Or wait,
Wow.
that was actually Delta species maybe. I don't think those Deoxys. Either way, yeah. The Latios and Latias, they were in Deoxys. I think they only came 1 in 3 boxes or something like that. Those were like legitimately $80 cards during the time.
How
I
rare
guess
is
I'm just
that?
not a fan of that. I'm sorry. I don't like that they would do that. If the card's playable. If the card's unplayable, then who cares? You know, make it a golden catch or rarity. I don't care. But if it's an actual playable card, that's not right. It's not good for the game.
What were you gonna say, Ben?
I was gonna ask how rare that one trainer was that was secret rare or something.
Which
It's
one?
not golden catcher, but it was like
Space-time
only
distortion?
secret rare.
Space time.
What is it?
Space time distortion or whatever.
Oh, time space
Yeah.
distortion. Yeah.
Something like that. Was that the same rarity?
Yeah.
Was it?
Mhm.
One every 3 boxes. But that one wasn't even that playable, was it?
It was a
That
little
was
bit.
playable. I used it
one-
before.
It was one per or it was like one in a certain amount of decks or something like that.
Yeah, it was like a one of index. Yeah.
Yeah. I could see the requirement like being the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I'm passing judgment too early, but I really would hope that they stray away from that, and I hope that doesn't become like an actual, or I guess it already is. Yeah, I don't like it.
I mean, obviously you don't want to pay that much for a card, but sometimes they just print them like that, and there's
Yeah, but
not
I
much
mean,
you can do
the
about
thing
it.
is, like, you could still pay. Like, I do mind the price tag, but I don't mind the price tag's high as long as it's accessible. If you decide to go the pull boxes way, like if you decide to buy boxes and go that way, then I don't mind it because it's accessible. But I mean, at this point, you have to buy 3 boxes to hope to get one, and you have about an even money shot of getting one or whatever. Better than even money, but you know what I mean. Um, I just don't like that. I don't like the rarity level of it. They can still be expensive, just doesn't have to be as rare. Like
I
the
mean,
EX rarity would be fine.
this has been happening for years and years and years. Just
Yeah.
every once in a while, one of these cards becomes playable, and that's just the reality of it.
Doesn't mean you have to like it.
Crim's got a lot of sour grapes
alright.
tonight. You wake up on the wrong side of the bed, dude.
I might have, dude.
Relatively, Pokemon is a very cheap game compared to other card games. I mean, I've heard stories of like Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic where your deck can cost a ridiculous amount of money. Pokemon, for the most part, there's only like 2 or 3 cards in your deck that are worth a lot of money. The rest is pretty affordable.
It's true. It's hard to disagree with that. You're right. All right, here we go. Lucas Moore. If you do it, will the mature audience's Top Cut episode after Worlds be uploaded to YouTube? For those of you who are interested in the mature audience's episode, kind of I think what our mentality was going into this was, you know what, let's have an episode where we just kind of hang out with the viewers and just like kind of show them our actual personality. I mean, Kyle already shows you his actual personality every week, but I'm I'm I like to have a little bit of fun, and I'm sure that Drew and Pram and Kyle do too. It's just kind of a way for us to throw the sensors off and just hang out, and we'll do a lot of viewer activities. It's just we do ask that please be of age, because we're going to be trying to censor ourselves as little as possible, and just kind of a way to hang out. Everybody just has fun after Worlds, after everything's done. And like I said, this has nothing to do with actual Top Cut, actual what we represent as whatever. It's just kind of a way for everybody to let loose. And yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't upload it to YouTube. We would just put that tag on there, I guess.
Yeah.
Drew?
I don't know how I feel about it. We'll see.
Either way, when it happens, you'll be a part of the Woo drinking game. We'll put it that way.
Let's take it apart right now.
Let's do it.
What are you talking about? This is pink lemonade.
Carlos Duran Jr. asks, with Kling Kling winning Nats, will Hammer Time make a showing at Worlds? I'm sure it will. I don't think it's going to be like a dominant deck, but I'm sure it'll be.
No. This deck.
You don't think so?
No.
You think the deck's just dead?
Anyone who actually played Hammer Time will realize that it's just not that great. I mean, it doesn't even beat like normal Darkrai decks, I don't think. Especially Tom Dozel's version of the deck where it's just straight Darkrai. I don't see Hammer Time like ever beating that version. Maybe
Well,
like
that's its bad matchup, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, I I don't think it's that great to be honest. I think it's a great idea. I mean, Asa won his nationals with it. It's cool, but I think if you look at his tournament report and his path to victory, he beat a six corners deck in the finals. Like it could not have been. That was like, here, take our nationals. We don't want to win anyway, because that deck is just like, oh, I play all special energy and I only attach once per turn. I wonder what's gonna win. The deck that can use Lost Remover infinitely, or the deck that has to attach special energy every turn.
Hey,
Like,
you don't badmouth six corners while I'm around, okay?
even if six corners were a legitimate deck,
What?
it has like a 99%.
Don't worry, Drew. I'll hold you back.
It's like Hammer Time is like a 99-1 favorite over the six corners deck. It has a ridiculous matchup. I don't think I could come up with a worse matchup in this game right now. And like, yeah, you're gonna beat that deck. Congratulations, you won nationals. Like, no disrespect at all. But I think he faced like a Vileplume deck too, where he won a really close series, but that was also a best 2 out of 3 in 60 minutes. Take that as you want it. And I think as most people tested the Hammer Time deck, they're like, this deck is alright, but is this something you're going to rely on going through a tournament, going through your crushing hammer flips, stuff like that? And I don't think people are going to play it. Even though Kling Klang won nationals, I don't think people are going to play that deck. And I think you'll see people start to tech like a Lost Remover in their normal decks, but you're not going to see a bunch of the crushing hammer Sableye thing. And it's kind of inconsistent, and I don't think it's as good as the hype was for it.
All right. Well said. Well said. Ben, do you agree? Disagree? Thoughts?
I'm not sure. No. Are we? You say Worlds, not including the grinder?
Yeah.
Yeah, he basically. Well, you just didn't include the grinder, but I think in the actual main tournament, people are not going to play the Hammer Time deck. It's. I don't think it'll be very favorable for the people who are in Worlds. Not saying that like the better players won't play it. It just seems like metagame shifted away from that kind of thing, and that's not really the kind of thing you want to go for, especially with decks like Six Corners not really that played. And even Kling Klang isn't.
Especially with six corners sucking so much. And he looks directly at Drew.
And the Kling Klang deck still isn't that played in comparison to Darkrai Eel decks, so that just makes it the hammer deck just not as good. Probably not going to be played very much at all, if any.
All right.
But
what about you, Drew? Oh, sorry. You were saying?
I agree with the thing. They probably will have more of the more Lost Removers in decks, just like as a tech.
Okay.
It's understandable. Special energy is pretty good.
What about you, Drew?
Pretty upset about
Defend six corners.
ragging on six corners. It had its
Hey
day in
man,
the sun, man.
it made it to the finals of a national championship. You should be happy.
My boy Verizion's gonna have
What's
a
that
word with
supposed
you
to mean?
in the beach house.
I never even said it was bad.
Technically, I never said it's bad either. It just gets destroyed by Lost Remover.
We
We'll
don't
see.
need to say
We'll
it's
see.
bad.
Next time we play Apprentice, Kyle. Next time.
Yeah, you have a habit of just flipping over the most ridiculous cards when we play Apprentice.
I think my Entei deck was pretty good.
Yeah, the Entei deck with the Miss Magius that can only move Psychic Energy.
It was an oversight.
He had this great idea. It was like, Entei, Miss Magius, so you can like retreat the Entei and move the energy and Seeker. And then I was like, Drew, I knew what his plan was immediately when he flipped over the cards. I was like, Drew, you know that only moves Psychic Energy, right? And he's just like, That was an oversight.
Washed up.
I still won.
Washed
I
up.
won that game.
You did.
I won.
That deck retired undefeated. It retired undefeated. Oh, man.
I didn't even play Darkrai either, so I just missed several key parts.
Oh, man.
Anyway, 6 corners,
punching
hammer
bag,
time.
dude.
What do you think?
I'm not a big fan of the Hammer Time deck. We were kind of playing that version right before Nationals with Weavile, and it definitely just sees Darkrai and starts running for the hills, so you can't be playing and just auto lose the Darkrai, so not a big fan. Not a big fan. Next.
Well, the next question is actually the last question, but we'll get to it. It's from Christian Velasquez. And why do we think the world championships aren't in the East Coast anymore? Like maybe Orlando, like before? And remember, this is the last question, so take your time and answer it, boys.
I think it's because, number one, of the hurricanes in Orlando, or in Florida in general. The first Worlds that Nintendo ran in 2004 was held directly after a hurricane, and the place was just in shambles. So I think they want to avoid that sort of thing. I don't know if you remember that, Drew.
Yeah.
Where the whole place was just messed up.
Trees everywhere.
Yeah. So that's probably part of it. Also Orlando, or in Florida in general in the summer. Well, not in general, but a lot of parts of Florida. It's just so humid there. The weather is just terrible. Like, sure, I mean, it's a great tourist location. You have Disney World, Universal, etc. But there were times when you like didn't even want to be outside because it was just so humid and so hot. And I think they want to move it to a more like tropical location to go along with their tropical promos. So I think it's gonna stay on like California or Hawaii.
Okay. I mean, I guess I didn't account for hurricanes or whatever, but I've always wanted it to be in Orlando in a year that I actually play. As I'm sure a few of you guys know why, but yeah, I hope it does go back there one year, and I don't think hurricanes should be that much of a factor in their decision making. I mean, that's just a natural disaster. It happens.
They happen more often there.
Happens.
These things happen.
That's a horrible argument.
They happen all the time. Not a big deal. Hurricanes, we can play through that. No problem.
All right. Anybody else?
I just think the people in Japan don't want to travel across the United States that extra 4 hours. They're lazy. That's my stance. I'm sticking to it.
Yes.
Woo!
Agreed. Potter, I want to close the show out. Anything you want to say about the question?
I've never been to Orlando, but
you and me can both go. It's perfect. We got to rally for Orlando.
I'd rather go to Hawaii. I'd rather go to San Diego, just from.
They don't have Disney World, man.
Yeah, they have Disneyland.
No, not good enough. Disney World. That's the world where everything happens, where all the magic happens, all the beauty and greatness that comes out of this world comes directly from Disney World.
All the beauty in the whole world.
In the entire planet.
Disney
Hell,
World.
you know what? All the beauty from freaking Mars also comes from here too.
What?
Disney World is the center.
If Disney World gets closed down one day, the world just becomes an ugly place.
It does. You don't think so? Are you kidding me?
At the center of
the world just turns into this black
turns
hole. Like
darkness.
Everything starts caving in because Disney World shut down.
People just start crying like irrationally, and everybody just. Oh God, I would hate for that to happen. Let's lobby for that.
You've never even been there.
I don't even like.
Yeah.
It's pretty disappointing when I went when I was like 12. So.
Yeah,
I was
you're not.
okay. I actually have been.
I would appreciate it so much more now.
Yeah.
I was 3.
You. Oh my goodness, I would love.
They had this really good-looking Pocahontas chick. Yeah.
I went to Disneyland
I got,
every year of my life until I
I
was
got
like
an
13 or
autograph.
14.
And the little autograph book you get, Pocahontas.
Man, Disneyland just isn't the same as Disney World. Oh man, now I'm all excited
How would
for it.
you
Let's make it
know?
happen.
You haven't
Let's make it
been
happen.
to Disney World.
Let's make it happen.
You're gonna show up and you're gonna be like, oh, this is just Disneyland.
Make it
But
happen.
huger.
You guys plan a trip to Disney
Huger.
World?
Yes.
African Safari was
Yes.
pretty cool. I like that.
Let's do it. A top cut trip to Worlds, or not Worlds. The top cut trip to Disney World.
I'll meet you there.
That's not funny, man. I hope it happens. All right. Anyways, that's gonna be it for our show this year. This week. Yeah. Either way, time to close it off. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I am Crims, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully, we didn't bore you guys. Please follow me on Twitter at Crims23. I know Pram isn't here, but he and I like to see who gets the most people on Twitter, and he's been beating me for a while now. I was starting to catch up. I got actually really close, and now he's starting to, squeak ahead. So anybody that's watching the show, please follow us on Twitter. We're actually trying to really grow this Twitter trend for Pokemon, and I know a few other people who play the game as well have been trying to do so as well, and I think it's huge. I've mentioned this, and I'll probably keep mentioning this every week until somebody makes me stop. But Twitter is great for interacting. Twitter is great for actual like speaking your mind, and just the fact that you air it out in public and it's like a small, concise statement makes people go like, oh, you know what, he's right, or oh, I disagree, or whatever. And that's how these conversations start. Like all these big gaming communities have this Twitter trend, and we should follow as well because, like I mentioned, it's great for the game and it's great for publicizing and whatnot. Aside from that, thanks for watching again. Hope the Top Kid Invitational happens and it goes really well. I'm going to be excited to watch it. So that's really what's going on my end. And thank you all. Anybody else want to take it away?
I guess I will. It's me, Ben. Me. Yeah, follow me on Twitter. I am the best tweeter of the group
What did
by
you say
far.
to me?
You're like the worst Twitter. You don't tweet.
I tweet all the time. I tweet the most by far.
He does. You
times.
just, Crim, you just aren't awake during normal hours, so you don't get to see when he tweets.
I wake up at normal. I wake up at like 5 a.m. my time, and then I go back to sleep. And then I wake up at like 8, and then I read a couple Twitter posts, and every once in a while he's got like some cat one.
Alright, that's the problem. You're just not awake during my prime tweet times.
Do you like take pictures of your cat at home and then tweet them
I do.
like during your lunch
He's
or whatever?
around here somewhere. I do that sometimes. I'm just sitting there at lunch. Time to tweet. What do I got? But follow me on Twitter. I don't know. I think I leave next Saturday for Hawaii. I think are we gonna have a show next Thursday? Probably.
It's a good question.
We'll find out.
Well, we'll see.
If I don't see you guys next Thursday, hopefully we get some good content at Worlds then. Hopefully the Top Gun Invitational goes well, because I will not be there.
Oh yeah.
Be sure to stay tuned for Worlds coverage and stuff like that. And you got anything to say, Ben?
Yeah, thanks for the Top Cut, having me on the show. Do it anytime. Follow me on Twitter. Yeah, that's about it. If you're at Worlds, come say hi. We'll hang out, do whatever, you know. I like to drink.
You also like sushi, if you would like to give some.
I don't like sushi. We're not going to get sushi.
We're going dollar for dollar. We're going back.
I'm not going. I'm going $0.
We're going dollar for dollar. Let's see how far we can get.
If I win Worlds, I'll go dollar for dollar.
Alright.
Oh man, I like how Pablo logs in as soon as we're about to end the show. I wonder if that's on purpose or not. Either way, Kyle, go ahead. Take it away.
Alright, thanks everybody for watching. As usual, you can follow us on all of our various websites and social media locations. I don't even know how to describe that, but follow us on Twitter at TopCutPokemon, and like us on Facebook, facebook.com/TopCutPokemon. our YouTube channel, Top Pokemon, and of course our website where everything gets posted, thetopcut.net. That's where you can find us. If you have any feedback or suggestions for us, feel free to contact us at any of those places or email us at thetopcut@gmail.com. If you'd like to donate any prizes for the Top Gun Invitational, we would greatly appreciate it so that these players can have something to go home with after they took the time out of their day to play in our tournament. And just stay tuned for Worlds coverage, stuff like that. Most of our updates will be on Twitter. That's the simplest way to update things. And I think we're going to use a hashtag like PokeWorlds or something like that. So pay attention to that stuff if you would like to follow along if you're not going to be at Worlds. And the Top Gun Invitational will definitely post if we can stream from there. Otherwise, we'll post the videos as soon as we can. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate every time you guys tune in. And we will see you next time.
Take
Peace
it easy,
out.
guys.
Woo!
Are we done? Do we cut it off yet?
Wow.
Anytime?
I'm trying. I forgot I was in charge, guys. My bad.
I was